Hello, listeners. I am your host, Lana the Educator. If you're a first-time listener on this channel, welcome. Here we explore the latest educational trends, tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, conduct insightful interviews with people making a difference, and share stories of triumph and innovation from around the globe. If you're interested in all of this, then stay tuned. Today, we have an honored guest, a distinguished guest whose dedication to service and community has shaped lives across Trinidad and Tobago. A retired career educator whose impact extends far beyond the classroom, with a wealth of experience as a school's supervisor, a former vice president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, and a former director at Lake Asphalt Trinidad and Tobago Limited. Our guest today has devoted his life to leadership, mentorship, and advocacy. But his commitment to service doesn't stop there. He continues to dedicate his expertise to community-based organizations in his hometown of Rio Claro, ensuring that grassroots initiatives thrive. As a key figure in Hunter's emergency response team, our guest plays a vital role in assisting families when loved ones go missing, working alongside law enforcement to bring closure when it matters most. Through a network of dedicated volunteers and collaboration with stakeholders such as the Anti-Kidnapping Unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services, the Defense Force, and the ODPM, Hunter's Emergency Response Team is a beacon of hope in moments of crisis. Their mission is simple yet profound: to reunite families and support them through difficult times. In today's conversation, our guest will shed light on the national issue of missing persons, the strategies behind search and rescue operations, and the power of community-driven initiatives. Get ready for an eye-opening discussion about resilience, collaboration, and the importance of closure. Stay with us because this episode is one you do not want to miss. And join me in welcoming Vallence Rambharat, captain of the Hunters Search and Rescue Team. Welcome, Mr. Rambharat.
Good evening, Lana. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast today, and I think we'll have an interesting conversation going forward. As you indicated, your program is an educational one, but also one that captures the issue of innovativeness and creativeness in the society. And one such organization is the one that I am proud to lead. That is the Hunter Search and Rescue Team. We're an organization that was created out of a need. There was nobody to sit down and say, this is the name of the team, these are the members. Andrea Barrett went missing in February of 2001. I contacted the then Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, and I indicated to him that the persons best suited to navigate the forests of Trinidad and Tobago are hunters, and I'm willing to bring a team of hunters to search. We were welcome at the Sangre Grande police station on Monday the 2nd of 2021, and we searched for an entire 3 days until her body was found. When we were completed, the persons who were with me indicated that they wanted to continue in some form of fashion to, look for missing persons, and I indicated to them there and then that I don't want anybody to waste my time. If it is that you want to give of yourself, you want to volunteer for something, I will ensure that it becomes an excellent organization, one that is purposeful, one that is focused. And so we remain focused on missing persons. And as you indicated, our mission really is to unite loved ones with their families, with the assistance of law enforcement. And we've stuck to that, to that mission for the past almost 5 years. And it has been an interesting, it has been something that's very interesting. I believe that such an organization is the first one in the world that was created to just, have a group of volunteers go there and assist families when their loved ones go missing. It is something that was created in Trinidad and Tobago, and is something that is unique to the world.
Right.
What we set out to do is to get a listing of all missing persons. So what we do is that we out there on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and families are able to contact us. Sometimes we get referrals from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, like this afternoon when we posted a missing female.
Mm-hmm.
And we begin to work with the families to try to locate them. But I must mention this because we have a filter system. You must report the matter to the police. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is, in terms of our organization, we prioritize who we search for. First of all, we look for persons who we believe harm may have come to, and that takes precedent in the organization. Mm-hmm. You would have seen over the weekend where one Malini Prasad, who went missing in Barrackpore, her body was identified through DNA testing. Mm-hmm. But on the night that I received the call, it was a Sunday night, I knew we had to hit the field. And on Monday, we went out with the father and we tried to canvass for CCTV footage. By Tuesday, we were still doing CCTV footage. Wednesday, we began searching, and on Thursday morning, we found her body. So we knew from the backstory that the parent would give. In that case, we would know this is a high priority item, and we would have had to launch a search immediately.
Okay, so let me ask you and say here, because missing persons is what you deal with, but those things are usually very emotional and very complex issues that you have to deal with. And Trinidad and Tobago has seen a rise in missing person cases in recent years. So what do you think is the underlying causes behind this trend, and how can we better address that? What do you think is the cause for this rise?
Well, first of all, we have categories of missing persons. We have the age groups, the 18 and unders. Those are the juveniles. In the last few years, we've been able not to account for probably 2 or 3 of them. We have a couple of females who are still missing, and we feel they became victims of crime, and ISIS James comes to mind. And in January the 1st of this year, we launched a search for America Harry, who went missing in Laukitre Spinal, and we still haven't had any closure with respect to her going missing. And so the 18 and under category, we have just 2 or 3 that will not be accounted for. But by and large, they return home, and we call them the runaway teenagers. And what we do is that we work with the parents, we deploy to the parents several devices. If they cannot do it, we do it ourselves. And so the majority of the juveniles under 18, they are females, and they account for 38% of the missing persons per year. So we work, we normally get them within a week, 2 weeks time. So, but we have to treat every case on its own merit, because it may have an ISIS James in there, it may have Andrea Barrett inside there, and what about a Savannah Dyer? Right. You have these cases, we have to pay attention to every case and then say, okay, we could confirm that they left voluntarily, they would have gone to so-and-so place, and we will work with the parents. And the reasons, Lana, one is that we firmly believe if the home is not a comfortable place, it's not an oasis for the growth and development of a child in a nursery, then there will be reason to leave. We feel strongly that there is also abuse, sexual and physical and verbal abuse taking place in these homes. And so the juveniles tend to up and leave. And so those are some of the push factors that will push them out of their homes. And then on the other end, there is something to pull them away. So most likely they go on Instagram, which is the chief culprit of the social media platforms we deal with, and they go, there isn't they just say I'm over 18 and they enter. And so they use Instagram mostly to communicate with others out there who show them a bit of whether it's fake love and affection, and
Right.
they gravitate towards that. So there are push factors and there are pull factors. Then you have the 18 to the 50, 60 category. These are the adults in the society. And there are various reasons for them going missing. It could be that they have been out and something would have happened to them. We got persons, we found bodies already where people fell ill and died. We found bodies where they were victims of crimes. And and by and large, with respect to some of the males, they may have husband wife issues and they want to go and cool out their heads, and similarly the wives want to escape for a while. Sometimes we don't even post these cases, we work with them quietly. And the most bothering category that we've found is the 60 and over category, because I heard people talking about elderly abuse, and our team stands strongly against that. We've had a number of elderly folks who go missing. They have mental issues. They may, as they age, they may get Alzheimer's, dementia. Well, Alzheimer's is a part of the dementia spectrum.
Yeah.
And what they do is that they wander away, and many of them are not found. On Saturday night, we had a list of 10 missing elders, and we launched a search in San Fernando through checking every single homeless shelter, every homeless area where the homeless sleep. And it took us 4 hours to cover the entire San Fernando area, trying to locate these persons. We were not able to locate any because we had the cooperation of the homeless persons. We know they are well organized. They know all who utilize the streets to sleep on. And so we engage them, we engage members of the community to find them. But this list of elderly persons who remain missing over the years is growing, and that's of concern to us. We feel strongly that there should be avenues to house these persons and have medical, they should get medical treatment, and in their ripening state of human life, they should be better treated, and they should have a comfortable place to stay.
So, I mean, as an organization that is focused on initiatives like yours, Hunters and Rescue, do you do work to educate the public about preventative measures and community responsibility in these missing person cases?
Well, we've done quite a lot of programs such as yours. We've done podcasts, television interviews, radio interviews. But most importantly, what we focus on now is being proactive. So we do visit schools, secondary and primary schools, and we do outreach programs with those children. We were recently in the St. Mary's Anglican School there in Tacarigua. It was a lovely time spent with those children. And that is our way of being proactive. It is very important that the issue of missing persons remain on the forefront on the nation's agenda, because it speaks directly to some of the greater societal issues that we have to deal with.
Earlier on, you mentioned some of the younger category of missing persons or persons who might have gone missing using social media, but social media plays a huge role in spreading awareness. With Facebook, you have 35,000 followers, TikTok, 20,000 followers, and Instagram. How has digital outreach strengthened your ability to locate missing persons and provide updates?
Well, it has, because this is where we get our information from, and because we interact with the members of the public a lot, the social media platforms allow for that, and you could do so without having to make direct calls, and also WhatsApp helps a lot, Messenger helps a lot. And engaging members of the public, they always provide information which guides us to locating persons. And apart from that, with respect to our search skills, that is strictly from us being hunters. I am from a strong hunting family in the Rio Claro district, and when the team was formed. It was comprised basically hunters, hikers, but in the main, hunters.
Mm.
Um, by that time, I had basically stopped hunting, but I do go to the forest. I'm now a full-time conservationist.
Mm.
But I always engaged hunters, but it's through hunting that the skills were
Right.
transferred from hunting to search. And I dare say we have one of the best teams in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm.
Lana,
Mm.
last Tuesday night, we received a call from the Carnage police that there were four lost hikers in the Chaguaramas area, young people. We were up there by 8 p.m.
Right.
We met fire services there and one Coast Guard's man.
Mm-hmm.
And we took 2 hours to scout the Edith Fall area. And then I said to them, listen, we need to find an alternative route. We went up to that very steep climb called leading up to the radar center in Mount St. Catherine.
Right.
And from there at 12:47, we
Right.
entered the forest. I took the lead,
Mm-hmm.
both as navigator and as the person leading the crew inside. And at 3:26 a.m., we were able to locate the lost hikers and we brought them out at 6:32 p.m. But I want to do a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Fire services officers are still not well equipped. They have the wrong boots for forest. They
Okay.
have they don't have proper backpacks to transport things like water, a portable stretcher, good lighting system. The torchlight I use and the headlight I use cost thousands of dollars. And
Mm-hmm.
they saw it in action, right? So it delayed us because each time I made 10 steps forward, I had to flashback for them to come together to come up to meet me. They had poor lighting. And I did engage the chief fire officer and say, if you have a fire services on search and rescue team, please equip them. I mean, they do have the determination. They stood up strongly and we completed the mission.
Right.
But going forward, there must be improvement. And we enjoy working with fire services because when we meet up, we provide them with hot coffee. We provide them with meals. As you know, Lana, we have a sponsorship from KFC.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we are on searches, we have free meals. And I was able to order for them
Right.
in case they were there. And,
Right.
able to share that. Maybe you can't embark on a 12-hour marathon rescue
Mm-hmm.
without fuel in your system. And so I think you always have to be prepared, and we are always prepared to launch a search.
Very good. But given the volunteer-based nature of your search and rescue team, how do you keep your team motivated, especially in high-stake cases where, it might take days or, I don't know, maybe weeks to resolve? How do you keep your team motivated?
Right. So there's still a level that we have to get to in terms of funding. We're still largely self-funded. We do raise our funds, and that keeps us going. We have a few sponsors
Mm-hmm.
that then we have people who we have assisted already. So let's say we're going down to Cedros for a search. We've done 3 or 4 searches in the Point 14 Cedros area. So we
Mm-hmm.
could always call on folks and say, hey, could you assist us with preparation of a meal?
Mm-hmm.
On the go, members are trained to grab water. They know who have to pack coffee. They
Mm-hmm.
know who have to pack what equipment. And so we get by relatively easy. We've learned to sleep over in our hammocks,
Mm-hmm.
and we have our own stove and utensils to cook meals and to prepare hot tea and coffee and that's it. Like, so we get by on very little. We've learned that as part of the resilience building of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And however, as leader, I ensure that nobody is out of pocket and that the team is always comfortable. There is always a need for more. For instance, things like insect repellents, those finish, and you have to purchase for the team. You need to have some boots would give away, and we always have to be replenishing stock. So that is why we welcome sponsors on board. People have raised with me the issue of government funding, and I always say to them, if we get it with no strings attached, except for accounting for the funds, we will engage the government on that. What we do not want to do is to fall into anybody's structure where we have to get permission to go out and search. We act on behalf of families primarily, and because of that, we don't seek permission to go any part of Trinidad and to be able to search, because normally we move quick, we move on time, and we try to we largely effective, and we don't want that aspect of us. And to me, that's our hallmark. It does not take us long to get going. Within minutes, we are on our way.
But this must take an emotional and a mental toll sometimes, because you're dealing with death, you're dealing with hardship, sometimes you're dealing with suffering of family. How do you cope with that?
Well, we do. Well, there are two aspects to it, right? So the emotional strain is when you get there and you're seeing families that are not well off. So we try to share what we have. At Christmas time. We set aside some hampers to help those families who are in need, who we assisted. And so there's the other aspect. The other aspect, Lana, is the one of the emotional strength that you need to actually come upon a dead body. And for me, as the leader, the members will tell you, I don't ever go close, right? I will spot from a distance and utilize the stronger members to get closer, to take a photograph. We if it's a crime scene, we know how to approach. We've been trained how to approach a crime scene. But there are strong members, and there are ones like me who prefer to step back. All right. And on many occasions, I would tell you, we were looking for a young guy in Palo Seco who drowned earlier this year. And I was walking along the beach at 6 a.m. the morning with 3 other members. And I was closer, I was further away from the shoreline. When I spotted the body, I made a left turn straight to the shoreline. And they knew that I had spotted just on my walking away. And so they came. And so that we understand the strengths and weaknesses of everyone. And we've been offered counseling. We've had some medicals as well by the North Central Regional Health Authority and all members. So we know the medical information on each member. So we have to do one again this year, hopefully this year, so that we could track each member's medical condition.
Right. I know that you collaborate with several organizations, the anti-kidnapping unit and Defense Force, ODPM, and all of those things. And I also heard you mention earlier that you have some training in how to approach crime scene. So can you tell me a bit more about how you work, or what role those organizations play in supporting your mission in Hunters and Search and Rescue Team?
All right. So it's basically, we work very closely with the anti-kidnapping unit. We have a very long and trustful relationship with them, and we can discuss anything with them. Once we are going on a mission, they are notified immediately. They know where we are going. Sometimes we require law enforcement to be with us. And there was a case in Salt Mine Trees recently where we spotted the burnt bones of a human being. With a gentleman who was missing there for quite a few days, but we had to enter onto private property. And so we engaged the anti-kidnapping unit, and they were there with us to ensure that we got access to the private property. And within minutes, we were able to observe these burnt bones. So the relationship is a strong one. There's an information sharing platform. So currently there are 3 cases that are still outstanding where we feel harm may have come to these victims. And I know when I leave, I have to go and write a summary report on one gentleman who is missing in Valencia, and put in that summary report all the information we've had thus far, because it is very important that before you go into a private property, that they have all the information. They may have to obtain a search warrant, that type of thing. So that's the level of collaboration we have. In addition to that, we are well known throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So if we are going on a mission, having informed the anti-kidnapping unit that it's safe for us to go alone, when we get to a local police station, we would visit the police station, we let them know we're in the area and what's the purpose of our visit and the purpose of the search. So we take their numbers. Sometimes they will go with us, just to oversee things. And then we would call them and say, listen, we found this, we call the anti-kidnapping unit, and they will put all the arrangements in place for the processing of the scene and the removal of the body and everything else. So I would say this, Lana. We've had full cooperation from the members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, and the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard with respect to the conduct of searches throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
Very good. Just for, public knowledge, what are the steps that the Hunter Search and Rescue Team takes once a missing persons report is filed? Or do you find that people might call you first rather than call the police first? What has been your experience there?
Yeah, they will normally call us first.
That has what do you do?
Our experience, and we will guide them. We will take all the information, including the picture and the name and when they went missing and everything.
Okay.
And I will tell you why, right? It's very important that they report it to the police. Let's use this as an example. Lana goes missing,
God forbid.
right? God forbid. But she has a phone.
Right.
All right. We need to pass that phone number onto the anti-kidnapping unit.
Okay.
But for it to be tracked, a policeman just cannot submit a number because he will probably be abusing a system. So he has to submit the official receipt that the person made, a missing person, what you call a receipt you receive at the police station. We need to submit the telephone number and that receipt to get the number tracked. And additionally, we have to protect ourselves against prank calls and that type of thing. There are several instances in the past. I've seen Dr. Keith Rowley post in the face on our poster, Vibes Cartel. So, we have to protect ourselves. And so we ask you to go to the police station. In some cases, when we feel harm has come to you, we get out there right away, but you still have to make your way to the police station because we have to inform the anti-kidnapping unit that we're heading out.
This season, I find in the rainy season, I mean, you would know different than me, but I know sometimes what you see in the news and social media, you find that there's an upsurge in missing persons during this kind of rainy season, because I tend to hear the Hunter Search and Rescue Team mention much more, I find, during the rainy season than maybe in the dry season. What is your experience with that?
Probably it's because I think with the juveniles, the school year has come to an end. We finish exams and they want to go probably on certain adventures and whatnot. So we tend to get an uptick at this point in time in June. It will go right through until September. And then after September, you will find, like long holidays, celebrations. I always tell the team, Point 14 Borough celebrations. Look for one or two down in Point 14 who go missing. Back home. And it happened this year. And so we know what to expect and when to expect it, and we know to prepare ourselves to deal with an uptick.
Yeah, important work you're doing. Obviously, nobody will question that. So, if someone wants to support or volunteer with the Hunter Search and Rescue Team, how can they get involved?
Well, simply go to our social media pages and leave a message or call us at 799-1453 or WhatsApp us, and we're willing to engage you. I want to say this, that the only sponsorship we take is sponsorship that we take sponsorship of equipment and so forth, but we want an engagement where there are no strings attached, because
Attached.
we've seen persons offer sponsorship where there are certain conditions attached, and we've chosen not to do that. We want to remain purely voluntary organization, one where our creativity and continued innovation continues to carry the team, and where members are free to pursue this cause of missing persons, and we're very careful about getting entangled. There's a saying, Lana, right? And I always tell people, too old a cat to be skinned by a kitten, meaning I've had lots of experience out there. I know the world, I know how to traverse it. I've experienced everything. As you know, you highlighted my career and
Right.
my involvement in cultural sporting groups, the pan movement, and I've seen it all, right? And that is why we're very, very careful with this organization.
Let me ask you in the closing up here. I know I have a friend ask, what you get from this? Dan, like what do we get from volunteering? Because yours is particularly, it's not the pretty side where you just go and you give away hampers and stuff only like that and you have a little barbecue. Yours is a very taxing at personal cost. What do you get from it? Why is this rewarding for you?
I think it's personal satisfaction. When you get to my age, you accomplish your life goals and you see life differently. And some people become spiritual. I am spiritual, and we want to give back to our country, and we want to do so in an altruistic manner, in a selfless manner, one that comes at no cost to anyone. And it's a huge undertaking. It's a lot. It is a lot to chew on at one point in time. But Lana, by the grace of God, we get it done. And our membership is intact, and if I call a search now, I am guaranteed to have between 12 and 14 members
Wow,
present.
dedication. Yeah.
And we created a love amongst our team, and it seems as if we yearn to be with each other, to all talk. We do have fun when we out there, right? And we all talk, and so it's a good gathering of persons. I want to mention we have 7 females out of our 32 strong members, and to me, and then we have youth as well represented on the team, and so it's a multi-ethnic, multi-religious group. So when it's sawing time, we head by some. When it's roti time, we go so. When it's Christmas time, we hang this way. When it's carnival, we drive this way. And so we always getting together, whether it's something in the savannah for carnival and members have a free time, we bounce around carnival time and we get together, right? So it's always something happening with this team.
Well, Mr. Rambharat, I want to thank you so much for volunteering to do this, and I want my listeners to know that you empower minds and you ignite curiosity. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, it was a pleasure chatting with you, Lana, and I do look forward to viewing your program on YouTube, and I will share it on our page. And as you said, we have to continue to network, right? And civil society and things that you do as well. I enjoy being on podcasts. These are the things that will strengthen our society.
Yeah.